How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Tubby and Justin podcast. I am your host, Mr. Tubby 200.
And I am the co-host, Justin 6. I don't appreciate you taking the name of host because we're both hosts, man.
Yeah, you would also say I am also the host. That's what I thought you were going to do, but then you said co-host. So I'm in charge. He's co-host.
No.
You heard it first.
This is not what I signed.
Work out.
I signed a very specific agreement to come onto the show.
That's true. You did. I paid you literally no money. All right, so without further ado, let's just get into our topics of, well, should we talk about what the podcast is and what we're going to be doing with it?
Yeah, so now cut to like what we're going to be talking about because this is like awkward.
No, not what we're going to be talking about, but we should talk about like this is what this is going to be.
What the podcast is.
Yeah. So this is going to be a podcast between me and my co-host, Justin 6, where we're going to be talking about pretty much news, video games, mainly video games. That's what we do on YouTube, but pretty much just shooting the shit.
Yeah, if there's something we want to talk about, then we're going to talk about it on this podcast.
Now, I have a lot of opinions and ideas, and I'm right, so let's get it.
Let's get
into this.
All right, so let's talk about the games we've been playing first. I heard you did like some kind of stream on that new Mario game with Rabbids in it.
Yeah, a lot of news coverage. A lot of news coverage on that. So we played Mario Rabid Kingdom. I did a 24-hour stream of it. It was really good starting off until I got to about World 4, and then I really felt like, well, there were some freezing issues with the actual Nintendo Switch, which was a big issue. Like, it would just lag and drop frames, and then it would just speed up. I got caught in a staircase once, and I couldn't move, so I had to do a hard reset of my Switch. But I've been seeing some other kind of game-breaking glitches where you're supposed to touch the scroll, and like the next cutscene's supposed to play. Some people, they would just walk through the scroll and no cutscene would play. Some people also, they would like push an ice block that was supposed to break something and it wouldn't break. I think these are fixable by patches, and I didn't experience any of like the game-breaking glitches where I had to totally restart my game. But that was one.
Have there been any patches? Do you know?
I have no idea. Probably should have done that research before we started the podcast. But overall, the combat system was great. I had a lot of fun playing with it until we got to World 4. Then I felt like the game really fell apart because to make it harder, they just spammed a lot more enemies instead of
that's a question I have. So how is the difficulty ramp up? Is it like pretty easy, but then they just like fucking spam enemies, so it's like too much? Or like how do they make it difficult?
I mean, the first time I got really salty was I think the mid boss of the Ghost World, which is World 3, and that just got like pretty difficult. But when I play a lot of these games, I also play extremely brute force.
Yeah, that's probably why.
The other thing, too, was at World 4, that's really when it stopped becoming as fun for me. A, because I was probably 18 hours into the game, so I was probably just tired and cranky. But on top of that as well, I felt like their degree of difficulty was just adding more enemies. So there were some games where it literally took 90 seconds to have all 12+ enemies move around and shoot me or do their turn. Then it went back to me. That was incredibly annoying. And there was even one scene that was like a protect and like lead mission through an NCP.
I'm gonna stop you quickly because I don't think you talked about the basics of what the game is. So the game is like turn-based combat, right? Turn-based, like shootery, like you shoot things, I assume.
Yes, the game.
It has Mario characters and Rabid characters in it, and you play and as them in like squads. So it's pretty similar to XCOM. It has like a cover system as well. So the reason I was asking about the difficulty is in XCOM 2, the difficulty comes a lot from when your character dies, it stays dead. So you get all this progress on your character and then it dies. So you have to constantly like make new characters and like be careful and not have your characters die. So in this game, it doesn't have that. It has no like hard penalty for like losing characters.
Well, no, my Switch hasn't been smashed to pieces yet, which is what I would do if that was the case. So that's definitely not a thing. But yeah, I just felt like really towards the end of the turn-based game, they kind of ran out of ideas. There's one where you have to like lead an NCP to the finish line, where it's literally just a hallway, like a straight hallway with a bunch of enemies spammed in between it.
How long was the hallway? Like, I've done some escort missions.
It wasn't that long, but it just shows the creativity, I feel like, at the end, where they were like, okay, let's put a straight line and a bunch of enemies, and like that's difficult. Like, there you go.
Bro, you just don't appreciate the complexity of straight lines.
Probably. I'm a moron, so that would probably make a lot of sense. All right, so speaking of XCOM 2, we also have an expansion with XCOM 2. I know you're a huge XCOM 2 player.
Yeah, I really loved XCOM 2, though I haven't beaten it, so I would know that I'm like an expert at it. It's just like a fun game that I like. And the expansion came out the same day as Mario X Rabbids, funnily enough. So that's why and XCOM I've played, Mario Rabbids I haven't, so that's why I was kind of comparing the two. You've seen a little bit of XCOM. What do you think of like the themes versus each other?
Yeah, no, it was good. The one thing I would have also liked to see from Mario Rabbit Kingdom was more emphasis on the outside thing. So you could shoot boxes and some of them would have like bombs in them or something. It looked like with XCOM 2, there was a lot more of like environmental kind of effectiveness, not just moving, but like other stuff that would activate as well. With Mario, was really based around these are obstacles you need to move around, not as much as these obstacles can also hurt you and do damage. I would have liked to see a little bit more creativity with that.
But yeah, the expansion, what is cool about that for XCOM is it adds enemies that are like the enemies in Shadow of Mordor, with the nemesis system in Shadow of Mordor, where if you kill an orc, it can come back and then it'll become like your nemesis and it'll keep coming back. And it's like this big enemy and you have like an actual rivalry and investment in like this single enemy. And they do the same thing with XCOM 2's expansion, War of the Chosen, where they have enemies that come back time and time again and like screw you over repeatedly. So you like really want to like fuck them over. So I think that adds like a lot to the game to where, but I still think like the advantage of Mario vs. Rabbids, from what I can tell, is it's just a lot lighter. Like, even though it gets pretty hard towards the end, even just based on like the way the themes are, like it seems pretty funny, like the cutscenes and stuff and the characters. And yeah, I don't know, it just seems like a lighter game. Like XCOM 2 is very serious. When your characters die, they stay dead. Assuming you play Iron Man, which is the only way to play the game. If you try to play it a different way, you're not playing XCOM. Sorry, go away. Anyways,
100% Mario Rabbit Kingdom is made for small children. A lot of the cutscenes, a lot of the dialogue was pretty simple, and it was a lot of that like Despicable Me Minions humor. I kind of felt like.
Yo, bro, I found that funny though. I liked it. I'm their target audience.
You're also a small child. That's good. I would say a lot of this cutscenes I was just skipping through. I was like, this is for very, very small children.
Yeah, but like Rabid Peach, I think that's the guy that made the selfies. Who made all the selfies? Someone in the
Rabid Peach would take selfies. Yes.
Yeah, that's my favorite character.
Okay, that's Rabid Peach. I assume is a girl. I don't want to assign genders to anybody and trigger anybody, but I just assumed it was a female.
I apologize.
But yeah, so what's our next game that we have on the list that has come out?
Well, it's not something that's come out, but something we've been playing recently. Pokemon MMO 3D.
So you introduced me to this game. When did it come out? Like, when did this become a thing?
I think like a year ago, like 2016. Like, it's been out, but like no one really knows about it. And we don't just have to talk about new games. We just talk about whatever the fuck. It's our podcast, goddammit. You can't tell us what to do.
Justin 6, please watch your fucking mouth. All right, we got little kids. We got little kids here. They're gonna be watching us.
All right, little kids, please go away. This is a adult podcast because I'm clearly an adult. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyways, what do you think of Pokemon? Do you want to tell the viewers what it's about?
Well, yeah, Justin 6 hit me up and he was like, hey, there's a new Pokemon game. You should play it. I was like, oh, fine, Justin 6, let's go do what you want to do. And I get into the game, and it was actually pretty cool. It was an open world Pokemon map where basically you're a trainer. You're given a starter Pokemon, very low level. I walked out of the town line. I ran into some wild Pokemon. You're assigned moves, so you hit like number 1 or 2, and that's assigned with the hotkey to your moves. And my Pokemon,
it's real time, right?
Yeah, it's real time. My Pokemon did a tackle attack while I was running in circles around it. I missed the tackle attack, and then I got scratched by, I think, a level 9 Weedle, and then I immediately got one shot hit and killed. And then my Pokemon flopped to the ground and it died. But
yeah, the death animations are great. They just freaking slide across the ground.
You definitely have to grind out the first couple, levels. Thankfully, you gave me a pretty strong Pokemon, which was super helpful. Yeah. But it's definitely a bit of a grind at the start, and it can be a little bit overwhelming because nothing's really explained to you, I feel, in the game.
Yeah, it's just there's nothing else like it. Like, if you want to play an open world 3D Pokemon game where the combat's real time, like there's no other alternative.
They're definitely just like, here you go, figure it out, stupid.
Yeah.
But
it's a fan-made game, though, obviously. Nintendo didn't make it. So we assume Nintendo will shut it down soon enough. Nintendo, please don't watch this video. What we're talking about doesn't exist. Go away.
Dude, all Nintendo wants is my ad revenue. They don't want my views. All right. So, Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of fun playing that. We went on an adventure yesterday. We fought an Articuno.
Yeah,
You killed it.
like that's another thing we should probably mention. Like, it doesn't have that many Pokemon in it yet. It has mostly Gen 1 Pokemon. It has the 3 legendary birds, Mewtwo. Lugia's coming. Ho-Oh was an event Pokemon earlier on. There's Mew. I already said Mewtwo. I caught a Mew today, actually. I'm very happy.
Wow, good for you, Justin Six. Great. Thanks for sharing your legendary Pokemon, bro.
No problem.
Dick.
And there's shinies in it. And yeah, I don't know. There's PvP too. There's a lot in it.
Yeah,
It's
we'll put it down below in the show notes if anybody wants to get it and play it. But it's Pokemon MMO 3D is the name of it, correct?
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say about that? I'm pretty much done.
No, I've just had fun. It's a lot of fun to play with friends. I think it'd be a little bit difficult to get it by yourself.
Yeah.
Definitely.
To be fair though, the community is pretty cool. Like if you're gonna play it alone, try and get into the community and just talk to people and chat because it's a pretty small community. So people are friendly. Like I got a lot of free Pokemon when I started off just by interacting with people.
Yeah, we're probably the biggest streamers of that game when we got 9 views yesterday while streaming it.
We're not the biggest streamers, but okay.
Probably record break. Really? Who has more views than me? Name them?
Hector Anderson.
Names. Andrew Anderson? All right, do you have anybody with a real name? Not 2 first names? Sounds fake. It's a fake name.
Okay, sure, bro, sure. Okay, so the next game, before I offend his sensibilities and ego, Divinity Original Sin 2, which came out yesterday, and I almost beat the first one, but I'm a scrub, and my friend stopped playing it with me before we could beat it together. So I never finished the first one, but I loved the first one, and I would finish it if my friend would play it with me again. And now the second one came out yesterday. I played it a while ago because it came out in early access first. And yeah, it's what did you compare it to?
It reminded me a lot of Baldur's Gate.
Yeah,
Dark Alliance, not the PC version.
Yeah, it's definitely similar to that, where it's like top down, almost like a CRPG, where it's a lot of lots and lots of dialogue, but that allows like different choices, different quests, lots of quests, your characters to make like actual decisions. And then the combat is really like in depth. Like it's one of the best combat systems I've messed around with. It's turn-based combat with a bunch of different classes. I don't want to list all of them because I can't remember all of them because there's so many. And then a bunch of different races, which also affects your interactions with the world. Because based on what your race is, like there's everything you do pretty much has an effect on the world and like how you interact with the world and interact with each other because it's multiplayer co-op. And
so on a scale of Undertale to Final Fantasy, how would you rate the turn combat gaming system?
Wait, Undertale to what?
To Final Fantasy. Let's go with Final Fantasy.
I don't like either of those games' combat. Like I like Undertale, but I don't like its combat.
I think Undertale is the one game that actually they figured it out and made it good.
Yeah, but it's not that kind of turn-based combat, you know? It's like it's so much more complex. Like it's not like you pick something, like it's not like Pokemon where you pick a move and then it does the move. It's like you pick a move, you aim the move, and based on how you aim it and where you put it, it has different interactions with the world. Because let's say there's water on the floor. You can do an electric spell, and then all the water will be electrocuted, and anything in the water is like shocked and paralyzed, and anything that walks through the water is shocked and paralyzed. So that's one example. And then if someone's wet, then they take extra damage, stuff like that. What else? So like there's like logical things where like if you're undead, you can't be healed by healing spells. You instead take damage. There's you can like put oil on the floor and then light it on fire. Like, there's a bunch of shit.
Nice.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, environmental. That's kind of the one thing I wanted more with Mario Kingdom Rabbids. By the way, I know I took a couple shots at Mario Rabbids Kingdom, but overall it was a good game. I did enjoy it. The turn-based combat was fun. I liked it when Luigi dabbed when you sent out one of his remote mines. He, like, hit the button and just straight dab on him. But
I haven't played it yet, but it seems like a fun game to me.
Should we talk about Knack 2? Knack 2 coming out?
Knack
2, baby!
I don't sure, Knack 2. It looks just as bad as the first one.
Yeah, no, for those who don't know, Donkey turned it into a running meme by saying that Knack was like the only exclusive for PS4 release, and it like it's just his running joke that it's a terrible game. But all right, so moving on to our other news stuff. What else are we talking about?
I mean, we can talk about news.
What are we talking about first?
Well, Nintendo is getting sued. Getting sued or already got sued?
Both. Nintendo lost a $10 million lawsuit for their Wii controllers. So the whole base of the lawsuit is that the controllers that were used is also used in the motion sensor of like a baby monitor, where basically, I'm pretty sure it's a baby monitor. Basically, if it falls, it alerts the parents and says, hey, your baby fell. And that same motion sensor was used for the Wiimotes. So Nintendo, here's the issue. The issue was it was filed in a certain county in Texas. And if you look at any IP patent lawsuits, there's one specific jurisdiction in Texas where they just always favor the person who has the patent. Like every single time. When you look at patent trolls or anything filed, they always favor the patent. So every single lawsuit's filed there. So Nintendo's appealing it and being like, this is crap. It's like the patent wasn't even filed correctly. We didn't infringe on it. It's for a completely different use. So it'll be really interesting to see the next court and what it says, because that's not as favorable to patents, but it is $10 million. Originally, they wanted 4% of every Wii sold, which would have been
$4.
$4 for every Wii sold, which probably would have been over 50+ million. I don't know how many Wiis were sold, but
a lot.
Probably a lot.
A lot.
Yeah, a lot. So
I don't know anything about law, but I just generally think it's kind of silly that the patents can be abused like that.
Yeah, I mean, you have patent trolls, and it's a real issue with patents, and patents haven't caught up to technology. So you can say, oh, I have this app that plays music, and then you patent it, and then it's like, yep, now I own all apps that play music.
Yeah, how dare Spotify steal my idea of an app with music? Oh my God.
So it's really just old law that just hasn't caught up with new technology yet, because, governments. But overall, this could be a real issue. Nintendo's also being sued for the Nintendo Switch, where Maker, what was it? What was the maker that?
Doesn't matter. They're unimportant. They're not cool
basically,
people.
yeah. There's some small company that used to make a gaming system, doesn't do it anymore. We'll put it in the show notes. But they had the patent for detachable controllers on the side of a tablet, and that's literally what the Switch is. So they want the Switch to stop production entirely. They're like, they aren't allowed to sell anymore. I'm pretty sure this is only for America. This might be a world international patent, but I'm not 100% certain. But America's definitely one of the top markets. And Nintendo's going to be in trouble if this is 2 lawsuits that they get snagged with. There's going to be some real issues if this is the case.
The reason why I have an issue with them even trying to sue is like they made a failed console without detachable. So the original thing they made, the controllers didn't detach. They just had like a portable gaming thing, which there's a ton of those. And then they started making accessories for like phones and tablets, and they made like detachable controllers for like iPads and shit, which that's not the same thing as making like your own console that has like detachable controllers from the actual like console. So that I get that the patent like might apply for that, but I think patents are bullshit and law is bullshit and anarchy.
Yeah, I mean, you need patents. I mean, patents do play a role. It does stop if you do invent something, great. Large corporations can't come in and just steal it. A lot of corporations will buy patents and just put them on the shelf. So it's like, this is more superior. We don't want people to use it, so we're going to buy the patent, put it on the shelf. If anybody tries to make a superior product. Like, let's say I make a battery that lasts for 10 years and I patent it. Yeah. Like, Duracell would come to me and be like, hey, we'll pay you, $40 million for your super battery patent, and then they'll just put it on the shelf and be like, we never want those batteries to come out into production. Play-Doh actually did that, where somebody made a better version of Play-Doh. I think Play-Doh was trying to buy that certain kind of patent from this, like, I think 16-year-old kid that made it, and they were just going to put it on the shelf because Play-Doh was like,
16-year-old kid.
Yeah, it was really, and he turned it down too. Saw it on Shark Tank. Good times. But yeah. So patents kind of are an issue with technology. They haven't caught up with today's times. And Nintendo, if these court cases move on and they lose both, the Switch could be stopped, halted in production entirely.
Yeah.
That would be an issue for everyone who's bought a Switch, because I assume they won't keep up support, or they'll just change it around and make the Joy-Cons not detachable, which will be really interesting to see what they're going to do, because it's like, oh, hey, your controllers now don't work.
I feel like Nintendo will be able to handle it. Like, they're a huge-ass corporation. Yeah. They have a lot of money, lots of owners.
They'll pay out. They won't stop production. They'll pay the company and be like, here's a lot of money. Go away. Leave us alone. Any other news? What new stuff you want to talk about?
I don't know. Bethesda's like paid mods thing, the Creation Club. So a modder on the Nexus made a mod to remove it from the Fallout 4, so like that you don't see like the Creation Club anymore. So there's a mod to take out paid mods. I don't know. I just think it's just kind of funny.
I mean, do you mod when you play any of your games? What mods do you use?
When I play what the
Any games, just in what mods
yeah.
you use currently.
I don't remember the names of all the mods, but like XCOM 2,
what,
I used a bunch of mods.
And what do they do?
So like XCOM 2, for example, I used mods to replace the characters with characters out of Archer. So I had Archer voices in it and like Archer looks, and like it was great. And they were saying like lines from the show. It was hilarious.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
Danger Zone.
And then there's also like a huge ass mod for XCOM that like adds a whole campaign and new classes, and like it can go like from little things to like just changing voice lines to like big things to changing everything. And like
so for those of you guys who know, I'm not that technologically advanced. I once turned my computer into a Bitcoin mining machine trying to download and torrent the League like 8 years ago, and it didn't work. I didn't download it. I downloaded a virus. So modding scares me. I don't know how to use it, and I'm not really that in it, but I have seen in the Mario Maker community, there was kind of a big controversy with somebody who was using mods and kind of cheats to advance their level play. And Jack Koo especially, he invented Warp World, huge person in the Mario Maker game. He kind of went into mods and being like, mods for aesthetic looks are totally fine. And I've done a lot of research. I've seen kind of hacks you can do in Mario Maker. And mods seem to be very, true to the game. They seem to really have another love of the game to another level where they can code, take time out of there to do this free stuff.
Well, here's my take on mods. Mods basically add to the lifespan of a game. Like Skyrim is still coming out. Skyrim is still popular because of mods, not because Skyrim's a great game. Like Skyrim is a great game. I think it's okay. I liked Oblivion more. # Oblivion was a better game. Anyways, I think mods are the reason it's still alive. There's so many like dedicated fans that just add content for free to anyone who buys that game. So it increases the value of the game that the company's selling without the company having to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with you, but I also think a lot of companies are behind the times, even like Nintendo, trying to mod Nintendo games or make games. I just don't even think they care. I think it even runs deeper than money. I think they're just like, we need to put our foots down and let people know that we own this and you can't mess with it.
I mean, there's two sides. Yeah, there's two sides on companies. There's companies like that, and then there's companies like the developers of XCOM 2. Forgot what their names were. What the name of their company was. I feel really bad right now. I'm just going to casually look this up quickly while
so professional.
Yeah, I'm super professional. Firaxis, the developer, and publishers 2K. And yeah, they added like immediate workshop support, which is the Steam system for adding mods to their game. So that basically just is like really nice of them to like with open arms welcome the modding community. And they actually worked with like a modding team to make like a huge mod expansion to their game for free for everyone.
Dude, I guarantee there's some mod somewhere in Skyrim that's like, pay me $10 and get nothing.
I mean, yeah, that's what all the mods pretty much are though. Like all the paid mods that I've seen have been like crappy aesthetic stuff.
No, like not even aesthetic stuff. Just like, this mod does absolutely nothing. Pay me money. I guarantee that exists. And that guy's probably made $100 million on it. Quote me on it.
I mean, it doesn't exist because the Creation Club is curated and Bethesda picked the mods, but none of the mods are actually worth the money, in my opinion. And they did a shitty job, and paid mods are stupid.
All right, cool. Yeah. What else any other news stories or?
I think we're good right now, bro. I don't think we got to talk more news.
So this is the time where we would answer some viewer questions about how we do streaming, YouTubing, sports, exercise. There's really anything that we are knowledgeable of.
Wait. You're telling me we get viewers?
Well, hopefully at least one person's going to watch this. We'll see. But when
that happens, he'll have questions for me and you.
We want you guys to put down in the comments below if you have any questions, any comments, any concerns. We can read it and talk about it on our next podcast. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We're going to be changing probably the name, the layout, transitions, everything's going to be changed. This was kind of just our test run of this podcast.
We're probably going to replace me with like a hot blonde or something like that the viewers actually want to see.
Huge porn star titties.
Yeah. It'll work out. It'll get the views, guys. Don't worry. I'll miss you though. Goodbye.
It's done.
Goodbye.
Now, can we do one of those Steam overlay cameras where how they have it as like a wolf who's talking?
Oh yeah, and subscribe to Justin6 at Justin6 at YouTube and Twitter and Twitch and et cetera, and do the same for Mr. Tubby 200.
Yep, Mr. Tubby 200. Everything's the same down below: Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, all of it.
And you better post my stuff down below too.
And subscribe. Not doing that. Sounds like a lot of work. All right, everybody. My name is Mr. Tubby 200, and yeah, that's a wrap. That's a wrap.